Hello, everybody. This is a Social Circle Jerk podcast. I'm your co-host, Lucas, the beast that shrugs towards Gamora. And right across from me is the other co-host of the show, Echoplex.
Hello, sirs.
How you doing? Fantastic.
Well, apparently he's both hosts tonight, so I'll just sit here and enjoy my coffee while he talks.
There you go.
So what we're going to be talking about tonight, sir?
Oh gosh, what won't we be talking about tonight? I think we've got a plethora of topics and.
Don't forget these have to be divided and everything, so we can't say that all of this will be packed into one little 15-minute show.
Oh, of course not. I mean, come on. I mean, the listeners' time is quite valuable, so
Yeah.
we'll try and chunk it up for you guys.
All two of them.
Right.
My mom and I believe my mom and probably myself. I don't think Lucas actually listens to the show.
I try not to, unless I have to.
It's pretty depressing.
Well, I think our first topic tonight is going to be a man we all know and love, or most of us anyway. Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth.
Good.
Yes.
You know, actually, my big point and everything is that whenever people start talking about Jesus, they don't realize that there's probably like 3 or 4 Jesuses, because just people's personal perspective. Say I grew up with a Jesus who was all loving, very patient, love the poor, love the sick, and the infirm.
Well, I think that's the one that most people around here grew up with anyway. I think that's the one most people know.
Yeah,
or think they know anyway.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is you have to look at it from the perspective of someone like me. Is my mother wasn't very involved with any church or anything like that, but I had aunts and plenty of aunts. I actually have an aunt that watches Trinity Broadcasting Network. If anyone knows what that is.
TBN. Wow.
Yeah. So and I actually lived in that household for just a little bit. And that's the thing is you come up with all these different perspectives. A few weeks ago, well, right before the government shutdown and everything, Ted Cruz stood up in Congress and started talking about a Jesus that basically told his disciples that he was on earth to save himself, and that they'd have to make their own way.
Oh, wow.
And that all the poor needed to get off their asses and get a job.
I'd heard about this, but I didn't really look into it a whole lot because it was just so mind-numbingly
evil.
Completely. Well, yeah, I would say evil. Evil's a good word for it. Yeah.
Just the opposite of actually what you would assume Jesus Christ would hop up there and say.
Exactly. So I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it because it was just completely against what I'd always been taught to believe.
Yeah,
so.
You were just well, that guy's full of shit.
Right.
And see, that's the thing is I can prove, that's one of the things is I can prove that a lot of people have true misconceptions over who Jesus Christ was, because like I said, I've always viewed him as a very patient man, a very loving person and everything, and and as Julia Sweeney's article points out and everything, he threw temper tantrums once in a while, like when he killed the fig tree, or
that was pretty interesting. Yeah, that entire article it was actually originally recorded for This American Life, and it must have been a transcript or something because that's where they originally came from. But I read it in a book that Echoplex let me borrow the the best non-essential reading of 2006 or something along those lines.
Best non-required reading.
Yeah, non-required reading. Yeah, that was it. 2006. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting piece there. Especially the part about Jesus throwing temper tantrums and cursing fig trees and whatnot.
Actually, one of his most famous temper tantrums was whipping out money changers and everything inside the temple who were selling. Okay, and here's something that's going to hit home with a lot of people, that other people that you may know, and anyone who actually listens may know. See, this is how I view TBN. They are the money changers to me. People like Pat Robertson, because and that may not be fair for me to say since I'm not exactly a religious person or really care about religion or anything, but I feel like I'm a semi-spiritual person, which is kind of weird for me to say because I really don't feel like I have a personal relationship with any God. I feel like it's just me in my own head talking to myself, and if I ever have any delusions where say some voice pops in and says you should probably kill your kids, I'm not going to be like how about this will make me a great man of faith. I'll be like maybe I need some psychiatric help, and if I feel like I can't control myself, I'd probably shoot myself. I'd commit suicide just to keep from hurting my own children. So and then a lot of people feel like that's part of their faith, like Abraham and Yetha. Is that, I can't remember.
Yetha?
Yeah, that's
Jessup. I don't know.
Jessup. That's it.
Is that the name?
Yeah. Burned his daughter as a burnt sacrifice.
See, I wasn't a big reader of the Bible, so I'm not aware of this story, but this was pretty pretty effed up.
Yeah, you can find this in Judges chapter 11, verse 31 is about where the story starts. Yeah, I realize we're in the Old Testament and everything, but a lot of people like to bring up homosexuality, which is the only place that was actually condemned was the Old Testament, right beside eating deer and anything with paws. I mean, particular types of birds and fish, and eating water insects like lobster. I wonder how many people realize that lobsters are insects.
A lot of rules to this following God person.
This was back whenever God was grouchy, though.
Apparently, yeah, grouchy.
Yeah, he'd throw a lot of temper tantrums.
Right.
I mean, and you can look around at the time of Noah. He just decides, the world's evil, so you guys build a little boat for me, and I'll save you and two of each animal. And I don't know how the feeding process is going to work, but here you go. All you hop in there for.
You'll figure it out as you go.
Yeah. So here's some more, and then you have Abraham, who offered to kill his own son.
Right.
Was actually just about to slit his, supposedly according to the Bible, he's just about to slit his son's throat off as an offering. I mean, you see people raising the dagger and everything like that, but that's how you do offerings: is you cut the animal's throat. So all of those depictions are bullshit. So it requires a lot of suffering on the part of the victim.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: why do you think God allowed Abraham to spare his son, but not Joseph and his daughter? What do you think? Or is there?
Well, the funny thing is there's Jewish scholars who believe that should actually not even be in the book of Judges. They don't even know where the story came from because it's actually a violation of several biblical laws.
Right.
Thou shalt not kill, and the list goes on. And plus, it's to kill a person upon a sacrificial altar is also desecrates the altar according to the things that they believe. So there's Jewish scholars going back to the first century, and before, who did not actually understand the historical significance of it or how any part of it played a moral role in anything considered in the Bible. But that's the thing, is he did not understand how it played any type of moral role in the Bible, in the Torah, because it violates so many rules. I mean, that's about it, But that's the thing is people don't really understand why he decided he had to kill his daughter. If you actually go back through and read what it was, two warring factions, and he had been kicked out of his own country, and the chief's faction decided they would offer him favors. He would go out, lead an army to go destroy the other place. But he said that I will only do this if you make me chieftain. And so they sat around, they finally come around and were like, okay, we'll make you chief if you can go over and destroy her. And he made this vow to God. He said, if I could destroy these people, come chieftain, and whenever I go home, first thing, person, whatever that greets me, I'll sacrifice them to God. And so he goes out, destroys them, becomes chieftain, goes back home, and then as he's going home, his daughter comes out to greet him. And so that's how he made the decision about who was going to die. And see, that's the thing, is his vagary. He didn't say the first animal that I see when I return. That's just how it's written in the Bible. The word he uses, which I don't know off the top of my head, makes it really vague. It's written out as whoever or whatever. It's just it. If I come home, whatever it is that comes out of my house is what I'm going to kill. So that's what stuck him to that oath, and he followed through with it.
Man, now weren't you telling me earlier that the Bible, or at least the Old Testament, strongly hints at human sacrifices?
Oh yeah. I mean, plenty of places. Right. I mean, I can't think of any off the top of my head, which is kind of ridiculous since I bring it up. But
well, actually, I brought it up.
But. Yeah, but that where we're talking about human sacrifices as far as Abraham, and yes, I'm really trying not to blow that name. So if I'm blowing it, just pass on by, just ignore it, or like I offered before, you guys can call on the Plex line. That's stupid. The Plex line. I'd made offers and everything where everyone could call and leave messages for us to listen to and ridicule. No one's taken me up on that offer yet because I guess my show sucked, but that's fine.
Maybe it doesn't suck. I just don't think people know about it just yet. I think we need more promotion.
Yeah, but that's the thing about just the Bible itself. Like I said, I believe that there's two different worlds out there. And, it all goes by people's perspective. And I can't understand what's in the minds of those people who can sit there and look at the same thing that I can look at. Say, you look at a historical figure like Jesus and everything. And you can go through and you can read that he is saying, I realize that there are some strong feelings and everything about him being God. I understand that. He's like, the only way that life is through me, blah, blah, blah. He was and I didn't do the blah, blah, blah thing as mocking. I just did that as, et cetera, et cetera. You have to excuse that. I didn't mean that as an
Please
insult.
don't hurt us.
And see, this right here is the thing is, I know we're kind of bouncing around here, but, the main point of the whole thing is about Jesus of Nazareth, and we do see that there is a lot of violence in the Bible, and that's what we're trying to get over, that's part of the reason we were covering that stuff is just so you can see, the long tradition of where God was very violent. And, if he was Jesus, then, that would explain the temper tantrum with beating the shit out of those guys in the temple and everything for, fucking desecrating his home. And then that would explain for him going, you damn fig tree, and killing it, wow. And I realize how silly this seems because, we're sitting here talking about a guy performing magic. So I understand, my atheist friends' trepidation. It would probably come from this where they'd be like, you realize you're talking about, Stone Age wizards, right? I mean, you do get this. And I'm like, yes, I get this. I get that's what, the Bible is about, is a bunch of Stone Age wizards. I really don't mean to be mocking anyone who believes in it right now, but that's how we perceive it. I mean, it is Lord of the Rings, and
Wow.
I know, and I would say that hurts. I would say that hurts a lot of people and everything, but I do find, some comfort and everything in reading, the book of Matthew is the only book that I ever felt the Bible was worth reading. That Jesus right there is a very non-condemning person. He's very thoughtful, very forgiving,
Right.
and he just seems like that if I had to pick any God, that would be the one.
So why is Matthew's Jesus different from the others?
Oh, well, see, Matthew's Jesus was Jesus. He wasn't God. See, that's the thing, he never makes a proclamation in that book that he's God, never makes a proclamation that he's better than anyone, and he never makes a proclamation that you should kill people.
So Matthew pretty much treats Jesus as his own entity, whereas the other ones are saying, yes, this Jesus is God as well.
Yeah, and they make him very violent and warlike, which is something a lot of people, I don't appreciate it, because I think that, this is the one thing you hope about God. You hope that he's very forgiving, that he's very, patient and father-like and everything, and I can understand how that is a selling point for religion, because here's how a lot of people theorize religion started, was people theorize that religion started because some guy, some con man, goes up to a bunch of people and says, if you guys give me a bunch of money, I can guarantee you when you die, you'll have a really nice place in heaven. But what you have to do is you have to let me take control of your life, and I have to decide everything for you. Who lives, who dies. A lot of people figure that it started with a chieftain, because that's one of the things that used to happen, is that chieftains became God's representative on earth. You can see it in ancient Egyptian culture. You can see it, it's been around, and it's still going on if you look over at England. That's how you're born into it. God wants you to be a king, so, it's providence,
Yeah.
divine providence.
Divine providence. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Bam.
I knew what you were talking about there.
Yeah, so that's just how, I don't know, I guess religion's really strange to a lot of people. I personally don't like it. I think Jesus is a guy who could be respected just as much as Buddha. I can't think of any other religious person that I respect.
Muhammad?
Sure. I don't know. I really have this big thing with Islam and everything.
Okay. I was just rattling off,
Oh, yeah,
other-
but there are some, and see, here's what's going to really make some people upset, though, is if we start talking about Islam and then you actually talk about what's in the book and everything, because people are, I don't know, there are a lot of people that I respect who are dead set against Islam. So, that's one of Christopher Hitchens' big thing. Before he died was, trying to keep Islam from taking hold over in the European Union, because there were different sects and everything that were fleeing from the Middle East to get religious freedom, and then they go there and then they try to incite, Sharia law.
Try to impose their religion on them.
Yeah,
So, trying to escape,
which is the same thing, the fucking and see, that's the funny thing is, when people talk about the pilgrims or whoever, they're like, yeah, they're trying to get away from all those repressive fucking Catholics over here because they're all Protestant. Were they Protestant? What were they?
Pilgrims?
Yeah.
I think the Pilgrims were Protestant.
Okay.
I think.
And the Quakers, the Quakers were Protestant, I believe. Who cares?
Something like one of those. Yeah, one of those.
It's just American history. Who gives a shit about that, right?
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh man. See, but that's the thing is we steered over into this part of the topic and everything, and I really I do this a lot. I mean, I have like ADD really bad, so whenever I start thinking about anything, like different chains like lash off into different directions, and I'm pulling like little bits from every little part for my perspective and everything. That's where it all comes from.
That's part of your charm.
That's part of my charm.
Yeah, that's why we like
as we started off talking about dinosaurs, and somehow we're talking about like I don't know, scat pornography or something like that by the end, right?
We're talking. That's the topic. Scat pornography.
Yeah.
There we go. I mean, not that I know anything about that. No.
Gravy train. But I don't know. See, but that's how it happens to me. But, instead of getting way off on topic like that, I think it's very important that people realize that, there's, to a lot of people, there are perceived to be like two Jesus. And I understand that.
What's the plural of Jesus? Would it be Jesus? Or
plural?
I don't know if Jesus is.
Actually, I would go with Jesus. Just have
Jesus?
it. Have it one of the singular plurals. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's where it was hidden at. Maybe that's why nobody. Yeah, maybe no one knew that it was a few Jesuses out there, just because it was just Jesus. That's a plural, like ox or oxen.
Oxen.
Yeah.
Moose.
Yeah. Or
moose would be
geese.
No, it'd be goose and geese. Moose. Yeah. It'd be moose. Something like moose or
moose.
Yeah.
Or meese. I don't know.
Meese.
I love Mises to pieces. I've heard it a million times, man. You can't pull it past me.
A moose bit my sister once. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Is that awesome? I mean,
that's Monty Python.
Oh my God! I thought you were telling me that. I thought you were telling me the truth. Fucking rabbit. See, there we go. Way over there in the leather field. And I have to apologize for that. We'll probably even cut all this shit out anyway, so it don't matter. Or just leave it in there because we're still under the 30-minute mark, and that's where we're planning on leaving out. Probably be a good idea to cut that part out though, since we talked about that. I'm gonna cut this part out too, since we just keep talking about what we need to cut out.
Yeah, we'll just keep talking about things we need to cut out. That'll fill up the time. Yeah, let's cut this out, and then this.
Cut that. Yeah, just cut the whole fucking program. How about that? That'd probably work out really well for us. But see, and back to the original topic, just before the end of this, is that I think, a lot of people don't perceive there being two G's out there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, well, let's go with G's for right now.
Yeah, okay. See, and that's the thing, is like my grandmother's Jesus, loving, patient, caring. She modeled herself after him, and she was a very good person. Help out anyone, give anyone money, respected people, loved people. I'd watched her cry after she watched a commercial where different commercials where presidential candidates were trashing each other. She was like, I just can't believe two people would treat each other like that, crying. And I'm, and you got to respect that. Somebody so soft-hearted that they,
That's amazing, actually. Sounds like a really good woman.
Yeah, she was a really exceptional person, and I'm really sad that we lost her. So. She was 65 years old. Well, 67 years old when she passed away. But she was still full of life, and her nickname for me was Little Fucker. And then you had, because that's what she used to call me all the time.
Right.
You little
that
fucker.
Makes perfect sense, actually.
Yeah. But, I could drive a saint to curse. And everybody probably thinks about the grandmother. Oh, she's just a saint. No, my grandmother was a pretty good person, but, she partied in her younger years and everything. That's just a little bit of background. Anyway, and then there's Ted Cruz's get off your fucking ass, you bunch of hippies, and get jobs and everything. That Jesus, I'd have to say that guy's a fucking dick. And I wouldn't follow that Jesus if you put a gun to my head, because I don't see any way. And I figured that's probably where a lot of my moral perspectives and everything come from were my mother and my grandmother. So that's the reason. But Ted Cruz proved that, there's actually two different Jesuses out there. So, by his whole fucking rant. And, if you guys have not read that, I won't ruin it by reading it to you because I'm a terrible on-script reader or anything like that. But if you get a chance to go there and read his little passage about the Jesus that told his disciples to get there and save themselves. I'm here for myself. I'm going to go receive my kingdom, and you guys got to do on your own. I'll see you later.
You should probably post a link to that when we're editing or whatnot. Just put a slide in there, just with the web address. We'll check that out.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea.
All right.
Or as part of the credits at the end.
Oh, wow. We're going to do credits at the end?
Maybe. I mean, shouldn't we?
I don't know. Do you want to have music at the end of this?
Maybe.
Would it be worth it? Because this here will actually be our first official show.
Yeah.
So I think we should.
Then we probably should put some music in there.
Yeah, we should probably just leave this completely intact, just as it is.
Right. Well, for the most part, yeah, I think you could cut out some of the pauses and
and a lot of this.
Yeah, and a lot of the banter,
Yeah.
all the witty banter. We don't want to sound like we're friends or anything. I just,
Yeah, we just two guys sitting in a room
just
going.
Two guys sitting in a room locked in to get the kind of like Saw. They have to talk about like Jesus and 3D printing and
for
stuff.
their fucking heads blow off. Oh yeah. We were actually sitting here, and there's a necklace around with a bunch of shotgun shells stuck in it. And if we don't say something witty about like every 2 minutes,
right.
They start going off.
There's a creepy puppet across the room watching us too. So. So what you're saying is like the two Jesus? Is that what the name of the episode is going to be?
Two Jesi.
The two Jesi.
Yeah.
Sweet. I like it.
No, we're so clever.
Yes,
no.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
see, that's why we take ourselves so seriously. That's why we called ourselves. The working pod name for this podcast was the Pseudo Intellectual Dicks, and then we turned it to the Social Circle Jerk. I don't know. I got this namesake on that, so I don't really think anyone turned it into other than me just decided this name's pretty clever, and it conveys that we're not taking ourselves serious, which is the most important part to me.
But we should do our research though.
Yeah.
Which I clearly didn't on this podcast.
Well, but that's the thing is like the Christopher Columbus thing came. Well, not the Christopher Columbus. The Pilgrims. The Pilgrims thing came completely out of left field because of something I did, and who has time to care about what like ancient Quakers fucking cared about?
History professor.
Yeah, you can go listen to a well-educated. I mean, you know what we are? We are the armchair professors. Maybe that's what we should change it to. The armchair
professors.
Yeah. That's yeah, armchair, and then that's just the armchair professors talk about war, and then we have no valuable information to provide from firsthand experience or anything.
Yeah, I've never been in a war myself. So
yeah.
I've seen a few, but
yeah, I mean, like Saving
TV.
Private Ryan.
Yeah.
I heard that was pretty close
the
to
Clone
actual war.
Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the big thing right there. Is like I've never actually been in battle, but I've read a couple books about it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my perspective. Actually, that's what we'll do is we could take the Fox News perspective without actual. No, I was going to say without actual information, but that would be the Fox News perspective. I believe. I'm right.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
I don't watch TV a whole lot, so
I don't watch television either anymore, but I see a lot of clips and everything. So I mean, the 5 and 6 minute clips, and most of the time I'm just sitting there shaking my head. And that's how I discovered the two G's by the way, was like by sitting at my aunt's house and watching television and having those guys say really fucking heinous things that I don't believe that any God would want their disciples. Maybe an evil God, because there used to be some gods out there that required people to sacrifice their children. Maybe that God might be like, fuck the poor. How about no, just sacrifice them to me. How about that? Yeah,
sacrifice sounds a lot better than fucking them.
Yeah, or the sick. Sacrifice those to me. I'm gonna sound really evil right now.
Uh-oh.
But it's actually a very good fucking idea. I don't understand why no evil dictator in the past ever thought of that. I'm God, so we should just do eugenics on these people. That's fucking
That's a
evil.
crazy idea.
Is that fucking evil?
That's incredibly evil.
But we can hide it behind the notion of God. It'd be awesome, right?
That's
say that God wanted us to do it.
Awful.
God wants us to kill retards.
You should be ashamed of yourself for thinking that.
Yeah, God wants us to kill retards and cripples. That's evil too, right?
That's very evil.
Just saying those words. Yeah.
Wow.
Very
I
un-PC.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
He's turned into the evil circle jerk.
Yeah. No lube.
It's just uncomfortable. It's not really evil.
And what do you get that chafing? At least spit on your hand. I don't know. All right, guy. I guess that's about it. Anything else?
I love you guys. Those that are listening, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, you filthy sluts.